I knew Thomas Frank was good, but not that good. Let's talk about this game. And by the way, I'm Wally from FOOTY with Wally, a channel where I cover Tottenham Hotspur mainly, and also make Premier League content here and there. So talking about the game, if you didn't watch the game and you only see the numbers, you'll be like, maybe City dominated the game and then Tottenham found goals like counter-attacking. But it was not that. Even though City had more XG, expected goals, I would say Tottenham could have won this game like 3-0, and it would be a fair result. I'm not even kidding. Even though like it's weird saying this with the numbers on the screen, but trust me, like City were very uncomfortable during the game because they were losing all the battles in the midfield. Tottenham midfield today was absurd. Like, they were so good. Palhinha, Bentancur, Sarr, they just dominated the midfield. And City is known as a team who dominated the possession through having midfielders who can control the ball, control the tempo. But City today couldn't do any of that. But obviously City are still a good team, like they're not horrible. And they also have good players, and therefore they will create chances. So City indeed have some good chances here and there, like one with Mamouche, Bobby Cadio stopped him. The one from Haaland, it was a header. But in general, I'm saying it, City did not have so many good chances. And the scary is that both Tottenham goals were from shots that had a lower XG than these two City opportunities that I just said. So talking about the goal specifically, first one, around 35 minutes, it was 34.30 seconds, something like that. Brendan Johnson scores from a Richie assist. Rich started to play well again, which is good considering he's not a cheap player. It's not like you can just sell him. So him getting confidence again, being fit, playing well, playing consistently, I think that is very good for Tottenham. And also under Thomas Frank, he seems to fit Thomas Frank's system. But I'll talk more about the individualities later in the video. So first goal, Spurs took advantage of City's high pressing with a long ball. Like, this goal starts with City trying to press Tottenham very high, and then Porro finds a long ball to Sarr. Sarr wins the aerial duel for Richarlison, and then Richie just finds, in the counter-attack, they run. Then he finds Brendan Johnson alone to score, and almost finishing in the first half. It was literally in the extra time. Spurs pressed high. In my opinion, the City's goalkeeper, Trafford, should have done better. Like, it is very basic. You always try to lateralize, because then if the defender loses the ball, you still have centre backs to defend. So you usually want to pass for the right back or the left back. But Trafford tried to find Nico. Nico was marked by Sarr. Then Richarlison gets the ball. He tries to fix the situation and slap the, I don't know if you'd say slap the ball in this case, but he touches the ball, and then the ball goes to Palhinha, who scores. And at that moment, I didn't know if I could take a print screen and put on the screen to illustrate what I'm saying. But if you watch the highlights and stuff, you see that Tottenham had 5 players in the opposition's box. Like, that is madness. Like 45 plus 2 extra time, and you're still pressing. So some general notes that I think are useful to talk about. Thomas Frank chose a more physical midfield with Bentancur and Palhinha, which was my man of the match. He was just a perfect DM today, like covering space, tackling aerial duels, ground duels. He won most duels in the game, and I like that about Thomas Frank, because he chooses based on the opposition, not necessarily only on what he wants to do. It's more like, okay, my opponent wants to do this, therefore how can I exploit their weaknesses and improve my qualities or enhance my qualities. Whereas a lot of managers are like, no, that's my way of playing. I'll play this no matter against who, no matter the situation. If my players are injured, if my players are not injured, if my squad is good, if my squad is bad, I'll play in the same way every single game. I like that Thomas Frank is very adaptable. He's not, I think that shows a lot of humility, the fact that he just adapts. And obviously I'm saying that because last game we saw a midfield with Gray, Bergvall and Sarr, which was a more technical, which matched better the last game, which was basically a game where Tottenham would have to not only press, but have the ball for most of the time to create chances, find passes, swap positions, and all of those things that requires a lot of technique. Technique regarding being offensive. Obviously you can be technical tackling, for example, but you got what I'm saying. But for today, Tottenham needed players who would fight for every single ball, for every single inch of space and stuff. And also talking about adaptability, the team alternated between a mid block and pressing high, but always tackling the right moment. That is important, because if you tackle every single ball, you'd be like very tired after 60 minutes, 50 minutes or something like that. And that made City never comfortable with the ball. And now I'm considering that I'm talking about the teams. I'm not even talking about the individualities yet, because if we're going to talk about Haaland was like a ghost. We didn't see him doing anything apart from one header that he missed, which was a big chance. So in theory, he could have scored a goal, but in general, he was just a ghost. And the last note is basically what I said. All the stats showed a more equal game, considering what both teams wanted to do. Spurs dominated because Spurs did what they wanted. City didn't. City were playing at home, so in theory, you should be dominating your games, considering obviously if you are a good team, as City in theory are. So even more respect to Thomas Frank, because dominating City away is very hard. So that is something interesting to talk about, because I took the defensive stats. By the way, I took all those stats from SofaScore. Tottenham was superior in all defensive stats. Spurs let City have an unproductive ball possession. The team chose the right moments to fight for the ball, and that requires a lot of concentration and organization. Like, look at those numbers, guys. 70% of tackles won for Tottenham, 23 tackles, 7 interceptions, 49 recoveries. Like, Tottenham were just monsters when it comes to off the ball game. On the ball, they were very good as well. So let's talk about the individualities. Richie, by the way, I'm not going to talk about all the players because Tottenham basically had an amazing game, and I do not want to talk about 11 players because then the video will be infinite. So I just highlighted a few of them. Starting with Richie, extremely important being annoying to City's defense, because he is annoying. Like, he's always there pressing and then getting a foul, making a foul sometimes, and he got 1 assist. And as I said, if Richie play consistently and he is fit, he can be very good for Tottenham, although I wouldn't say he would be like within the top 3 scorers in the league in the end of the season. However, he can score like 10-12 goals for Tottenham in the Premier League if he's not injured, which has been his biggest problem at Tottenham. So Palhinha dominated the midfield, made Hinders disappear. 1 goal, 40 touches, won 6 out of 10 ground duels, won 2 of 2 aerial duels, even though he's not so tall, and passes 81% accuracy, 21 of 26. Like, apart from the numbers that are very important, the numbers are very important to analyze a player, but like, watching him, he was just everywhere. He was covering, tackling, slide tackling, like he was doing everything, and he nullified, I believe you can say nullified, like nullifying Hinders, nullifying Jerky. Basically, Tottenham midfield, and in my opinion, the best player on the pitch was Palhinha. He was just insanely good, and he is my man of the match. I believe Tottenham won the game because Tottenham won the midfield, and the best player in the midfield was Palhinha. And by the way, this kind of performance doesn't surprise me, to be honest, because you probably didn't see, but in my video about players linked to Tottenham, it was a tier list. Basically, I put Palhinha in like top tier to be signed within the players that were being linked to Tottenham. Palhinha for me was one of the best because he is just so good, and it doesn't surprise me that he is playing very well. So Vicario, in a few moments where City had any chance, he just stopped them. His 1v1 against Mamouche, even though I think Mamouche could have done better, Vicario just stopped him. So merits to the goalkeeper, and his numbers: 4 saves and 0.55 prevented goals. I'm talking about Romero. He and Van de Ven just nullified Haaland. I did not see Haaland do anything. Like, look at those numbers, Romero's numbers: ground duels 5, 1 4, interceptions 3, tackles 3, and passes 31 right out of 37, 84% accuracy, which doesn't surprise me because, as I always say, and I'm starting to believe that I have said this in literally all of my videos, which is the fact that I find Romero like within top 5 centre-backs in the world. I'm not even kidding. And Van de Ven obviously also very good, and Van de Ven had an amazing slide tackle when, I do not remember the player, like City's player, who was about to shoot inside the box, but Van de Ven just slide tackled the ball at the right moment without having any chance of a foul, just clear on the ball. He's just too good. Like, those two together, they just match perfectly, and I think they must be like, guys, it's absurd to say that Van de Ven and Romero fit are like the best duo regarding centre-backs obviously in the Premier League, because I'm trying to think, like, Van Dijk and Kanate, they're very good as well, but they're better than just the centre-backs. They're better than maybe Saliba and Gabriel Magalhães. Also, they're also very good, but let's say within the top 3, they're easily like top 3 best centre-backs, best duos considering centre-backs in the Premier League, easily. So Tottenham so far, 3-0 against Burnley at home, which is good obviously, but this kind of victory, 2-0 against City away, is what builds the confidence, momentum the team starts to believe, because now they can be like, wait, people were talking about City as if they could challenge for the title race, or could it be like in the title race with Arsenal and Liverpool, and then we just beat them with not so much difficulty. Maybe we are in the title race, and I believe they can't think like this, because one of the most important things in football is believing. And I'm not saying this in a cliche way, like, oh, you need to believe, like, let's say you're a West Ham supporter, you can't believe that you win the title, that's impossible. However, I'm just saying that, especially for the players, if they believe in everything the manager is telling them, if they play for the manager, if the club is organized, if the environment, like they don't hate each other, which happens sometimes in some squads, and if they're good, and this momentum can just increase, and then all of a sudden you are fighting for the title. I know it's quite early, but I am surprised with Thomas Frank. So the numbers are 2 games, 5 goals scored, 0 conceded. That in the Premier League, a league that is very intense. Everyone has at least some good players. That is very difficult. But before finishing the video, I still think Tottenham need one top signing, and maybe even another good signing. So one 60 million pounds signing, and maybe another one who's like 30 million pounds signing. Oh, and actually, I just remembered that I didn't make a video about Eze. So let me just talk about that real quick. And if you were here only because of the game analysis, then you can go just like the video if you want. I would appreciate a lot. But about Eze, it didn't surprise me that he chose Arsenal because one, Tottenham could have signed him way earlier. And obviously, when I say Tottenham, I mean Daniel Levy. He could have just signed the player last season, and then the middle of last season, and then right at the beginning of this season, he was like, no, the money, they want more money than I want to pay. And then you start to wait, and then all of a sudden Arsenal just go there and get the player. So I wasn't surprised, to be honest. And also, if I'm not mistaken, someone told me that Eze is an Arsenal supporter. If I'm wrong, you can correct me in the comments, obviously. But I heard this, and if that's the case, I'm even less surprised, to be honest. Okay, but before, I'm not stalling, before finishing the video, that I swear that is literally my last information. Still talking about signings, I think Savinho is good. I don't think City will sell him for, let's say, 50 million pounds, like maybe 55, 60, but more than that, I already think is very expensive. And also, he plays on the right, and in my opinion, Tottenham needs someone who plays on the left, especially someone who can dribble. And if this player is versatile enough to be sometimes a left winger and sometimes a 10, then that is the perfect signing. And I do not think Savinho is this player. And if, I don't know, like tomorrow, Daniel Levy just said, by the way, just signed Savinho, I will still be like, okay, you still need one more signing. That was it. I waffled a lot. Talked about the game, talked about Tottenham, talked about City, talked about signings, Eze, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with a friend in case I've said anything useful. And obviously the comment section is there if you want to tell me anything, but be kind, please. And see you in the next time. Bye.